Hello everyone, and as you can tell, this is my review for John Carter. This review is definitely later than I originally planned, but I'm not kidding you, I've actually been really busy with schoolwork, but now it's school holidays, have all the time in the world, and also I attended a screening of this movie which was the night before it came out, so yeah. And John Carter is the latest big blockbuster to come to our screens and follows the character of John Carter, who is in the Western times because this is when this movie is set, and after being attacked in a cave is sent to Mars, and since he is strong compared to everyone else, becomes a leader to the alien race on Mars and save them from the evil group known as Helium. And I can't say more than that about Helium because the plot of this movie is so hard to explain and is a bit of a mess. So I must say that this movie is slightly better than I expected. The movie isn't perfect by any means, but it is pretty good. So most of what I liked about the movie comes from the action, which is totally wicked. I mean, this is how you do action. I mean, it is on this amazingly high scale and is so grand. They are huge. The action is so well shot, and there are plenty of them, more than enough to keep you satisfied. And when they are all set on Mars, there are all these new kind of ships and creatures that are big set pieces, and with these new things added, then the director can make it original and make it his own. And he does. Not to mention how well directed these action scenes are, and how exciting that made it. And I love the adventure aspect to it. I love me a good solid adventure every now and then, and this, even though it is not a complete adventure film, delivers some cool adventure parts to the story. The movie, I think, is really original, and I know that there are countless movies like this, but this story is where it all came from. As the book that this is based on was written over 100 years ago, and it definitely feels as if this was the original first story, which I mean in the best possible way. And many people may disagree with me on this, but I think that the characters were introduced really well and we got a lot of backstory. Okay, this definitely isn't the case with all the characters, but I think our main protagonist was introduced to the audience really well, and we could really care for him when anything happened to him for the most part. As I said beforehand, this movie is pretty flawed. Let's start off with the pacing. At times, the pacing is so off. At one point, you will be watching some very fast-paced and energy-filled, and then the next 15 minutes or so will be so drawn out and feel really long. Basically, the entire movie feels longer than it actually is, especially for the first half. As a whole, the film is about 2 hours and 10 minutes, but it feels like it's closer to 3. As I said at the beginning of my review, the film is very messy, mainly because of how the story is presented. The way the story is told in places is really messy and all over the place. Since this was the case and some elements weren't explained properly, I was confused in places. I didn't really know what helium was and what their main objective was. This following problem is more minor because I don't usually mind when a movie is predictable, but at times this one is just too predictable. You know what will happen in nearly every scenario, and the main point I'm getting at, there were lines of dialogue that I literally predicted word for word. Not a good sign. Now the one sentence review. John Carter is a lot of high scale, big budget fun that some people may not like at all, and is unfortunately very messy at most of its base. My star rating for this is very back and forth, going from 3 stars to 3.5 very frequently, but now I will say it just scrapes in with 3.5. That's just for now. And just, if you're wondering, the 3D is pretty good, although at times it's very unnoticeable, but since the movie is shot really well, there's this one scene which left my jaw drop for like the entire scene because it was shot so amazing. And I think the 3D definitely helped a little bit. And also, whenever you see John Carter jump, if you know what I mean, yes, that's great in 3D. And thankfully, there's a lot of scenes where he jumps, because he jumps far. So that's really all I have to say about the 3D. You know, it's very half and half. You can see it if you want to. You can see it in 3D if you want to, but it's not too necessary. And that's my review of John Carter. And since it's school holidays now, yeah, there are a lot of movies I'm planning on seeing on the holidays. I've seen 2 already. I've seen The Lorax, which I gave a 2.5, and Attack the Block, which, let's just put it this way, okay? Right there, you see, I have Best of the Year, and my favourite film, like, of this year, and, oh, look, The Artist. What I'm getting at, Attack the Block rivals The Artist for my favourite movie of the year. It's an easy 5 out of 5. And also, you may have caught out there, my ticket for tonight. Tonight I'm going to a one-off screening of my 5th favourite film of all time. Great Scott! Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. So, yes, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm Thomas, and that's a review.